Okay, the other question about the other woman in your life, you just mentioned her, your ex-wife, Jemima Goldsmith. What is it in 94, 95 when you met her? What is it that drew you to her? Because that sounded like a paperback romance novel, isn't it? You were more than 20 years her senior. I mean, you're Muslim, she's part Jewish. What is it that drew you to her?
Well, I mean, whatever, she's a human being.
Indulge me and indulge your nostalgia.
For a start, like, I have always, whatever I have wanted in life, my life has never been dictated, policies in my life have never been dictated by fear or failure. I always chased my dreams, whatever they were. So it didn't matter if the whole world said this is going to fail. If I wanted it, I would have gone for it.
Why did you want it then is my question to you.
Because I found her very attractive. I think Jemima had exceptional qualities. So I went for it. Didn't matter what anyone said. It's been when I wanted to be a cricketer, everyone said I couldn't because my two cousins were much superior. When I was going to build a hospital, everyone said, don't bother, you'll be destroyed. Or going into politics, the same thing. It doesn't matter to me. I never plan my life according to what people say. I never look for popularity in life. Do not try and make popular decisions. It was very unpopular in Pakistan, for me to marry an English girl. It didn't matter. Because there's you don't want to hurt public, but you don't want to lead your life by what public says.
But do you think your political career took a bit of a beating?
Well, I mean, I was attacked as being part of a Jewish lobby to take over Pakistan. I mean, that was the election campaign.
So, but you have no regrets at all, obviously.
Absolutely no regrets. Because the more resistance you face in life, the stronger you get. What doesn't kill you, strengthens you. So, I have no regrets. It was very difficult. The only time I began to feel, I felt a bit of remorse was when I saw her suffering. Because all the political attacks, because they couldn't attack me, so they went for her. And, I have such contempt for these political leaders, who went for someone's wife, someone who was vulnerable.
But there was never any question in your mind that you had an option, which is that you could have said, okay, my concern for Pakistan comes out with the social welfare work that I do. I go and live a fantastic life in London, and who knows, maybe my marriage survives.
No, to what? That I moved to London?
It's not at all a consideration, isn't it?
Look,
being Pakistani is being Imran Khan, right?
It's not even being Pakistani. It means life is for a purpose. There is a whole existence, the purpose to existence. I cannot imagine a life where I don't follow a passion or something, a challenge, or I don't have specific goals. I can't imagine a life without goals.
And Pakistan is your goal currently.
Now, what would I be doing living in London? And Jemima knew this. She knew that I was fired by passions, and I was always a dreamer. What would I be doing in London? I mean, a very easy existence, but totally purposeless.
One final question. This is to end with a little bit of a laugh, and that is, you've been asked to pick the best bowler, the all-time great, the best batsman. I want you to pick from the current crop of cricketers someone who you think could inherit your legacy, not in terms of cricket, but in terms of the charisma, the sex appeal, the glamour that you brought to the game. Come on, Imran Khan, pick one. We did a lot of serious talk. Let's have a smile now.
But you look at it like that.
Oh, there's no one who can be like Imran Khan, inimitable. Is that what you're going to say?
No, you look at it like that. I never look at life like that, about glamour. I mean, glamour is so fickle.
Yeah, but we enjoyed looking at you, let me say that.
I never even read these glamour magazines because it is just such trivial stuff. There's much bigger, let me tell you the people I look up to. People who have great dreams, and the dreams are beyond the self. So people I looked up to were Mandela's, the Lee Kuan Yew's, the Mahathirs, and then this great man, Erdogan, the Turkish Prime Minister. People, who transform societies, who have selfless ambitions. So even if in cricket, I see someone who, like Steve Waugh, I think he's done brilliantly. That here he is, set up a charity in Calcutta, and works for it full time.
Let us enjoy that vicarious pleasure we got out of seeing you enjoy the good life when you were in your prime, Imran Khan.
Yeah, but you know, I hardly remember anything of that good life. I mean, someone asked me, Imran, don't you miss those good old days? I have never ever wanted to go back. Whatever has passed is only to learn from and move forward. You asked me a question about my mother. You know, when my mother died, it was the most painful thing I'd gone through. I trained my mind to block her memory because it was too painful to remember her last days. So I trained myself that whenever their memory would come, I would block it. And I think your mind is so powerful that the past, you just train your mind only to learn from the past. The next most painful thing was my divorce. You know, suddenly not being with my family, my children. And so I trained my mind, and eventually the Almighty has given us so much strength that the more we exercise the strength, the stronger we get.
A quick word on the protests that have captured international headlines for over 2-3 months now. Libya, Syria, Bahrain, Yemen. How do you see this? Does this seem worrying because it just creates unrest in the world? And a lot of people are convinced that in these countries, all Muslim countries, there will be greater radicalization and not the Western version of democracy that people expect as a result of this public protest.
You see, the problem is the West has always looked upon the Muslim world from the prism of the Iranian Revolution. They saw in the Iranian Revolution, you know, an anti-West, they got rid of a dictator, and an anti-Western fundamentalist regime came to power, anti-American. But they never understood the dynamics of it. Why did the revolution turn into anti-Americanism? Because the Americans kept backing a cruel dictator right up to the end, not for the benefit of Iranian people. They got rid of a democratically elected Prime Minister, Mossadegh. Instead, they imposed a dictator on top of them. And this dictator killed so many of the people, and the Americans backed him only because there was their man. He was their dictator, so that he would be a puppet who would do whatever they wanted. So no wonder the regime turned anti-Americanism. Now what you're seeing in the Middle East is exactly the same movement. This is in Muslim societies, there's no fight between fundamentalism and liberalism. There is a fight between the status quo and the anti-status quo. People want the same rights, democratic freedoms as the Western countries.
So you're confident that in these countries we will see versions of democracy?
What you're seeing is a desire for the youth of the Middle East wanting a genuine democratic system and are standing up to American puppets, dictators, backed by the American, only so that they would do their lackeys who would do their bidding. So unfortunately, this movement, if the Americans oppose it, if they had Obama stood with Hosni Mubarak, you would have been hearing anti-American slogans throughout the Middle East. Because Obama is clever, he learned from history, he backed the democratic movement, there's no anti-Americanism, there's no fundamentalism, there's no extremism. And so it's a surprise for people in the West. But it's because they first misread the situation in the Muslim world. They kept asking me, Imran, where do you stand? Are you a liberal or are you a fundamentalist? I said, I am someone who wants democracy in Pakistan, a genuine democracy, not a sham democracy.
What you're seeing in North Africa and the Middle East, do you see that as worrying for the state of the world, this uncertainty, the further, the further tension between the Muslim world and the Western world?
Absolutely not. This is the best thing that is happening to the Muslim world.
And you think that the UN action on Libya is justified?
Yes and no. Yes, because I'm petrified that Gaddafi is going to slaughter his people. So yes, in that sense. No, in the sense because the Americans should have kept out of it, but then the Americans are the sole power because of their record in Iraq and Afghanistan, which is perceived to be anti-Islamic. So therefore, and then of course the oil factor in it. So therefore, it has slightly helped Gaddafi because the public opinion is firmly with the people of Libya who want to change. I just want to add this sort of little thing about Pakistan. you know, when you have a democratic government, the US should, like its relationship with India, it should align itself with the people of India. It should not align itself with one man like they did with Musharraf and now with Asif Zardari. Similarly, the US should have a relationship with the Muslim world. Why would anyone want to oppose the US? Why do they insist on having these puppets who then go against the interest of their people in support of the US agenda, which is what's happening in the Middle East? I mean, the people are standing with the people of Palestine, but people like Mubarak and these puppets are towing the US line on the Israeli-Palestinian issue. The people of the Middle East, or like most of the world, want to see the rights of the people of Palestine, want a viable Palestinian state, which will lead to world harmony. So in fact, backing dictators does the opposite. It actually fuels fundamentalism and extremism in Muslim world.
I know that you have blamed Pakistan's support and cooperation and participation in America's war on terror for a lot of the radicalization we are seeing in Pakistan today. What is your take on the blasphemy law and the reforms that have been suggested? Because we've seen two people being gunned down in a span of 3 months, Salman Tehsil and more recently Shahbaz Bhatti.
Yeah, but blasphemy law has been around for, what, 25 years? There are about 800 people who've been sort of caught in this blasphemy law. About 500 are Muslims. It is a law which came out at the time of the British. And the British, why did the British bring blasphemy law? Because they wanted harmony between the communities. Because if you abused sacred entities of each other, there was going to be fight in the communities. That's how it came around. But Salman Taseer did not happen because of the blasphemy law. Neither did Shahbaz Bhatti. It happened because of this polarization in Pakistan, where either you are pro-American and anti-Islam, or you are anti-American and pro-Islam. So this divide means that anyone perceived to be on the other side is now a target. Salman Taseer, before Pakistan joined this war on terror, what he said would not even have made the newspapers. People wouldn't even have mentioned it. And here he is, in the current situation, in this volatile situation, not only murdered, but the murderer celebrated as a hero.
The question is, where do you stand when it comes to fundamental rights vis-a-vis religious rights?
I believe that everyone is equal before law. My party is called Movement for Justice, means that the weak should be protected from the strong.
So the blasphemy law should be reformed?
Blasphemy law is not the only law that is being misused. There are about 60% of people in Pakistani jails, according to the DIG jails, are innocent. The crime is their poor people. Every law is abused in Pakistan. The powerful can get away with everything. The weak are the ones who go into jail. That's why you need movement for justice, so everyone equal before the law. So let me give you another scenario. Do you think if there was no blasphemy law, and you think that someone was perceived to have said something against the Prophet, do you think he would get away with it? There would be vigilantes who would be killing him. At least now he ends up in a court of law. But what you'd want is no law should be misused. The original idea of the law was to keep...
But should the law be reformed, sir?
It should be reformed in the sense that it should not be misused. And no normal person would say anything against sacred entities of someone else. So my take on that is, you basically need a strong rule of law and a strong governance system, which protects the weak from the strong. So my party view is very simple. Whatever religion you belong to, everyone is equal. You have equal rights. You are equal before the law.
More power to you. I hope you continue getting stronger, and I hope that the kind of vision that you have and the work that you've put into it comes true, Imran Khan. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.